Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's coverage live from the Precious Metals Summit at Beaver Creek in 2024. I'm excited today to be joined by Ivan Bebek, co-founder, CEO, chair and director of Coppernico Metals. Ivan, how's the conference going for you so far?
It's going exceptional. This is my 6th conference at Beaver Creek and it's my best one yet, which is largely predicated of what our company's doing right now, and that's drilling for a world-class copper discovery in southern Peru.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to talk about that drilling in just a moment, but maybe if we wind back the years and tell us about the foundation or the formation rather of Coppernico and maybe that journey to listing this year on the TSX.
Sure. It's an exciting journey. It's a long one, like there is to most assets. I'll start off by saying it cost me $40 million in 9 years of my life to get to this seat with you in this interview right now. And we're 4 holes into our drill program. The asset was first identified in 2015 by our team. We identified that it's a very famous prolific belt which hosts Las Bambas, the 11th largest copper producing mine in the world in southern Peru. The opportunity was missed by others due to social access being somewhat challenging and to the volcanic cover was kind of masking the property. It's called the Sombrero Project because there's a hat of volcanic cover covering most of it. There was a few erosional windows that showed the same rocks that occur over in Las Bambas, Tintaya, Anticapai, Constancia, some of the larger mines in southern Peru. And we got onto it in 2015. We advanced the project to a drill-ready stage, and we were pursuing community access until 2020 when COVID hit. Very sadly, it was very challenging up in the Andes, and we were very supportive, but the communities were more worried about survival than access agreements. After 3 years, we finally got social access last November. This led to applying for drill permits and attracting some very, very high quality executives out of BHP. Our VP of exploration joined our board, a lady, Mr. Keenan Jennings, and then a lady by the name of MJ McQuay, who was involved at the senior level with operations, running about $8 billion worth of their projects. Their input into our strategy and to this caliber of an asset is quite substantial, as it is a direct analog to Las Bambas, not just by rock type, mineralization type, the date that it was formed. It's in the Eocene era. That's where all those mines on the eastern side of this belt were exploring. They all occurred. And so the last point there is the opportunity we're looking at is discovering another Las Bambas scale discovery at a time where copper's heading towards deficit over the next few years due to electrification and the new increased demands, and also the decline of grades and scarcity of big systems like this in the world that have yet to be discovered.
Yeah, a couple of points I'm going to follow up on there, but maybe the management team, you got people with a great track record on board. What do you think that they saw in this asset that made them want to join the company?
Yeah, so we've had a lot of corporate interest from the major mining companies. Clearly, BHP was one of them, with the head of their exploration joining our board. He had mapped Las Bambas back in 2001, which is our direct analog, so there's a lot of familiarity there. Second to that, had been to Sombrero prior when BHP was reviewing it. And I think the obvious nature of some of the evidence that's occurring on surface, there are historical drill holes that confirm what we believe to be economic mineralization in the third dimension, or could be economic mineralization in the third dimension. The project is, it's got the best infrastructure I've ever explored with. And there's a power line that's right through the property. There's water, there's roads. It's a reasonable elevation at 3,900 meters. So when looking for major mines or copper systems like this, that really speaks to the profitability and the value of the grade that you're going to find. So a bit of outcrop, a lot of obvious targets, incredible amount of grade everywhere. And the scale is the hard part to digest. It's quite large as a major system.
Yeah, I guess when you make a very compelling case for the project, and especially in terms of the infrastructure, it sounds like that could really have a big impact on your exploration and development costs. I guess it begs the question, why did nobody see this project earlier?
That's a great question. It's got a history of being a new area where mining companies haven't been yet, not just because of the volcanic cover. It was previously age dated to be a younger era of mineralization. We have over 25 age dates that confirm it to be Eocene, which is the prolific era of Las Bambas and the other mines next door. The social communities was a really big feat for us to get through. We spent over 8 years in the communities. We were the first junior exploration company in South America to bring in agrodias, which is where we pursue government grants to bring agriculture into these communities in the Andes. There was an iron deficiency, so we brought in cows, we run on lambs, we also buy a fish farm, and we have $4 million more of government grants we're pursuing for the existing and neighboring communities we're looking to work with. So social was the challenge.
Yeah.
We live in the communities with our community representatives. We listen to these people, and everything we're doing is sustainable. But we spent 8 years earning the trust and developing a reputation with them. And so that's gone extremely well, and that really helps mitigate that risk with the project. Yeah. We're now providing jobs, and we feel we've overcome the real obstacle that would have prevented a lot of others to get in there. That's a long time as an explorer, and it's very expensive. Yeah. And it took a lot of perseverance to get through, but well worth the wait.
Yeah, it is quite the interesting journey, and I guess a factor that points can maybe be overlooked in terms of just how significant it is to gain that trust in the local community. And it sounds like there's been a lot of work done on the community side to build those relationships. I guess I'm going to talk a bit about the work that's being done on advancing and exploring the project. So I know that you have an active exploration program at the moment. Walk us through it. What are you hoping to find?
Yeah, so up until 2020, we had done all the layers of science that you'd want to do, from geophysics to sampling on surface. We reassayed some mold drill holes that were on the project, and we really defined the probability of potential success to be quite high and quite attractive. We are now drilling that program. It's about 7 kilometers, the first target. This is a cluster of intrusions that have, as they come up, they interact with the Ferrobamba limestone. That's how the mines were occurring on the eastern side of the belt. That 7 kilometer perimeter around each intrusion, there's 3 very large ones. We're exploring the first one, and we're drilling. No one's ever drilled this targeting copper previously. An iron ore company or a steel company was targeting iron mineralization, and they saw copper, so they left. That's an issue in extracting iron.
Yeah.
In the case for us, we're on hole 4, and we just announced what our core looks like from hole 4. In base metal systems, you have a lot different perspective on core versus precious metal systems. And what we've identified and announced earlier this week was the core meets all the hallmarks of a big skarn and porphyry system. And we see evidence in both, which means we have the complete system, skarn and porphyry. That's significant because that's where you could build a lot of tonnage. Grade is too hard to predict till you get your first assays. We'll have those in October.
Yeah.
But we have very strong vectors of where to go for grade and where to go for some substantial drill targets. That could be quite history-making in the chance of copper exploration on a big system like this. We've learned the system is very active. It's very mineralized. Our 4th hole was going to go down 400 meters. We drilled it to almost 600 meters. In exploration, you generally do that when you're encouraged by what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And so far for us, and in our press release, we think the geology is outstanding, and the system could be there that we're looking for. And because of the grade we've seen on the surface and in historical drilling, we think that could be there as well. So it's one of the most exciting stages of discovery is when you drill those first holes and you start to see the geology that confirms your model, your thesis, and things start lining up where they should. And that's what's happening for us. The second part that it's done for us is it's given us perspective on numerous other targets that we have, quite substantial ones. Yeah. And it's increased our confidence there because now we know what's giving off certain signals, or we think we know what's giving off certain signals from the subsurface data that we had. So this just became one of the most exciting exploration projects that I'm aware of in the industry for a major copper system, due to the scale, due to the geology, due to what we're seeing. But we are early in the system, and we have capital to drill 30 holes and working capital into 2026. And I was going to circle back on the cap table a little bit, but maybe in terms of the current drill program, what are the timelines here? What's the season like for drilling? Can you go year round? And I guess are you splitting the kind of drill campaigns into separate components where you're going to explore now, review some of those results, and then refine targets next year? How does the current part of the program fit into the broader exploration goals? That's a great question. We right now are permitted with 38 pads to drill 49 holes. We are starting to apply for a permit to drill 200 holes, which will give us a lot more drilling availability into this current system. That's based on the confidence of hole 4. And from the program, it's consecutive to go through those 49 holes. Yeah. We will drill right up until the Christmas break, then we'll resume in January. The rainy season does not impact drilling here because the terrain is quite moderate. So there's no slot canyons or steep areas to worry about. So we can drill year round, which is outstanding to keep the drill turning.
Yeah.
And it'll take us at least 2 years, possibly 3, to test all targets on our first pass. That's how many. There's 9 major targets that we have to go and test. So we're on the first one right now.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to digest on the scale of the system, but this is some of the reasons why 9 years of our lives waiting for this project, 40 million spent to get here, is because it has that kind of upsized potential to be a major system, and it has enough probability to have given us the patience to weather markets and timeframes. That's something you can't buy is time.
Yeah.
But our real success so far has been the perseverance and the working with the communities. That's been a major part of it. The technical attraction to people from major mining companies, corporate shareholders, has been outstanding as well. There's been a lot of third-party visits from major mining companies.
Okay.
And we're finding a very consistent response that's independently, very positive about the system and what it could be. So it's very, very encouraging today.
I mean, you mentioned that a couple of times, that the fact we spent $40 million to get to this point. It is an incredible amount of money for an exploration story that was private until this year.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk a bit about the cap structure. You've got some significant shareholders, and you're fully funded throughout until 2026. Walk us through maybe how are you able to attract the big names, Teck, Newmont, and I guess how are you able to secure financing in difficult capital market conditions to take you through a pretty significant drill program?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've raised almost $700 million in my career. Found a 5 million ounce gold mine in Ghana with my partners and team I was working with back in 05, 06, and then sold Caden to Agnico Eagle in 2014, and then raised over 100 million with Orin Resources, the predecessor. That Orin Resources, where this company was spun out of, it had an investment from Goldcorp for about $36 million, and that Goldcorp position was purchased by Newmont, when Newmont took over Goldcorp. Newmont is a shareholder of about 6%. Teck was the lead investor on the financing that we did in May of this year when copper was around $5 a pound.
Yeah,
they bought 9.9% of the company. So we have 2 corporates that own about 30 out of 177 million shares. Personally, I put in $6 million into Orin and continuing into Coppernico. So significant investment from management as well. This confidence in that kind of purchasing by insiders and other insiders. Keenan Jennings purchased into the company. Other directors have purchased as well. It really validates the opportunity, and it was able to draw a lot more capital from some new institutions that have joined the registry.
Yeah.
So we're at a point now where I'd argue we have one of the best shareholder bases in the industry. Some really named, known marquee investors across industry. But the project is what drew people in, and getting the permits was the big kickoff. Once we got the drill permit, then people saw the opportunity could finally be exploited and potentially monetized. And that's something we have a track record of doing. And this is the biggest thing I've seen in my career. And it's also timing perfectly with the outlook in copper.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks a lot for that overview, Ivan. Just to wrap up, copper markets, it's an interesting time to be a copper player, and obviously you've been focused on this project for a very long time. What gave you this conviction in copper, and what's your outlook there?
Yeah, I guess the biggest elephant in the room with copper is the electrification of the planet. It's electric vehicles, it's demand that's going to start outpacing supply. We're anticipating a deficit in copper supply starting next year. These major discoveries like we're going after, they take decades to come online due to the amount of drilling that's going to be required, the social, the permitting, the ESG efforts that are needed to advance these towards production. And that really points towards the perfect storm in the potential price for copper. There's a lot of low-grade copper around the world, but quality, high-grade with good infrastructure is extremely rare and unique, like the Sombrero project offers. So yeah, we saw the copper market a decade ago improving and heading towards this because you can anticipate supplying production for quite some time.
Yeah.
And we certainly didn't time it this long. We wanted to drill when we first got on the ground, but it's timing perfectly. So it couldn't be better for us, and we're very active drilling. So our best catalyst that we can offer shareholders is drill results. We will start in October and be continuous for the next, who knows how many years as this project moves forward.
Fantastic. Well, Ivan, thanks so much for joining us today. Congratulations on getting this far and getting to an exciting maybe turning point for the company. Look forward to hearing more updates from Coppernico throughout the next months and years.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.